Right, so it's the end of October. That means it's liberty cap season. For anyone that came here just for the pronunciation of the genus and species of psilocybe silenceata is what we're looking at today. So in this video I'm just going to talk to you guys about the sort of environment that you want to look for, tips and tricks on how to find those types of environments, the sort of indicator plants that you'll find in that environment, in that habitat. I'll talk to you about how to identify them. I'm going to show you guys what mushrooms look similar so that you know what not to pick. But yeah, so hopefully I'll try and find a couple and then I'll get talking. So before I show you the mushroom, this is the kind of habitat that we're in. So this could be classed as maybe montane, uplands, acidic grassland, sort of heathland. I believe if you use landis.org, which is a soil acidity map of the UK, the area that I'm in at the moment is probably going to fall around a 15 or a 16, so it's going to have a thin layer of peat. It's going to be very acidic. It's going to be a sandy loam, and it's either going to be sort of a wetland. I'm just going to show you guys the peat here, so you can see that this is a really peaty soil on the top of the mountain here. A few other things that you can look for to show you what sort of that you're in the right environment. There's a type of grass, well it's not actually grass, it's a rush, and it's this stuff here. So this is a type of juncus or junicus. It's a type of rush. They grow next to them, they grow inside the clusters, they grow all around these guys. If you find these, you know, chances are you're in the right environment. You get this all over the country in the sort of acidic, low fertility, heathland type soils. And over here we've got, I believe this is the western gorse, or Ulex galii, yeah, Ulex galii, in the family Fabaceae. So this is a gorse. They grow all around the gorse. Even in lowland heathlands, you'll find dwarf gorse or European gorse, and they'll grow all around that. So that's another decent plant to look for. Other stuff you can keep your eye out for is thistles and things like that. That all shows that it's an acidic soil. So the next tip I'll give you for actually how to look for them when you're actually out in the environment and you've sort of found the right location, keep the sun to your back and look forwards, and the sun should sort of light up the ones in front of you. If you face the other way and you face into the sun, as you can see my eyes are already squinting a little bit, it's much harder to look for them when you're facing the sun. So best advice for any newbies, turn around, sun to your back, look forwards. Ideally you want to go a day or two after it's been raining, because the caps are hygrophanous. I'll show you what that means in a minute, but a hygrophanous cap is basically, it changes colour depending on how moist it is. So after a few days of it being drier, the cap will turn almost like a skin, like a Caucasian skin colour, like a really pale, and the sun just lights them up. When it's raining, they'll be like a dark, deep brown colour, and they're a little bit harder to spot. So this is usually the best sort of time to go out. All those old wives' tales about going out in the morning, the early bird catches the worm. The mushrooms don't grow that quick. I've actually sort of done a little bit of my own research just to try and prove that right or wrong, and I found that it's completely incorrect. I've watched patches grow over a period of a week or two. They don't pop up overnight. So in all honesty, I find it's best to actually go in the evening, if not the morning, because the caps are more likely to be dry because of the dew in the morning will keep them wet. Right, it's about time we got to the good stuff. So this one's a good example for something I wanted to show you. As you can see on the top of the cap there, let me get it in focus. You see the little nipple? Its proper name is called a papilla. It sticks out the top of the cap like that, and a lot of people call this the nipple. That's one of the identifying features of the liberty cap. Another one is the stipe, or the stem. Is often, it looks like straw, and it's very flexible. You know, you can sort of bend it and twist it around, and it's not very brittle, and it's not going to snap off straight away for you. You can see the gills on the underside here are like a dark purpley brown colour. That's another way you can tell them. So these guys, obviously I spoke about how the caps are hygrophanous. These guys are wet at the minute, so that's why they're a dark, deep brown colour. And these ones are actually quite young mushrooms as well. The caps can usually get a lot bigger than that, up to about 3 centimetres. You can also see the gills through the outside of the cap, which is pretty cool. But let me just put the camera down and I'll try and figure out a way that I can show you guys another identifying feature, which is the gelatinous pellicle. Right, here's a decent sized one that's still wet, so I'm hoping if I damage it, I'll be able to show you the gelatinous pellicle. There you go. Can you see that jelly membrane layer that's holding the cap together as I'm pulling it apart? That is a key identifying feature. That is a gelatinous pellicle. It's only really present on the wet ones. It's still there on the dry ones. It's just you can't really see it and you can't really test for it. But it's a good identifying feature. And what I'm also going to do is grab this cap because this is a sort of darker brown one, like I've been saying to you guys about how they're wet and they're dark brown. And put them right next to the nice dry light ones. So these are the easier ones to find. This is the same mushroom. That may look slightly different just because of the colour of the cap. Again, that's just because it's hygrophilous. So it's good to know both of these guys. And as you can see, there's, you know, once you're in the right habitat, they grow all over. So you've got the nipple on the top. You've got a gelatinous pellicle. You've got a stem that almost looks like straw, and it's very flexible. And hopefully I can show you guys these next to some lookalikes, some mushrooms that you don't want to be picking up, things like dung roundheads and Pinalius. Right, that didn't take long. So in my hand we've got the Liberty cap, and then here we have the Pinalius. So this guy is completely different, as you can see. You just want to learn what some of the lookalikes actually look like, so you know what to pick and what not to pick. I'm going to start filming in a second because we've got people on motocross bikes coming over the mountain. That's pretty cool. Just figured I'd stop and show you guys these ones as well, because these are a lot bigger than the first ones that I found. But again, all the telltale signs, 100% psilocybe, semilensiata. You can see how they look. They're very sort of, the morphology of them, it's not very uniform. They'll change. You get all different shapes and sizes. Some of them will have huge nipples, some will have no nipple, some will sort of be mottled like this guy, you know, and then you'll get really dark sort of witch hat looking ones like this, where the nipple's really prominent and the cap's really sort of concaved. But yeah, and they grow in clusters, so often when you find one, there's loads of other ones around. So I believe here we've got some dung roundheads. These are the other sort of lookalikes that I was telling you about, especially when the mushrooms are more pale. So obviously these are the Liberty caps here, and then this is a dung roundhead. So they're slimy, but there's no gelatinous layer, no gelatinous pellicle. The gills go straight in towards the stem. They don't sort of concave up towards the tip of the cap there. That's another one to keep your eye out for, because the gills are the right colour, they're slimy, everything looks right, but unfortunately those are not the right ones. These are the ones you want.